Hi, I'm Amy, thank you for tuning in. This is my second YouTube video, and for this one I've decided to take an idea from some booktubers I've noticed this week. Quite a few people have been talking about how the end of April is halfway between Halloweens, so I thought it'd be fun to talk this time about my favourite supernatural creature, in case you can't guess, vampires. So to start the video I'm going to talk about a few of my favourite vampire books, and then I'm going to end by telling you the vampire books I'm planning to read between now and this Halloween. So my first pick of my favourite vampire books is the Morganville Vampire series by Rachel Kane, which is a YA series. It was written some time ago, but they're fantastic books for having creepy vampires that are also quite sexy and cool, and they're not just the Hollywood scary vampires, they're also not the pretty vegetarian Hollywood vampires. They're a really good fit between them. And in this book, the main character goes to university in a town and realises that it's not only a town run by vampires, but it's a town that she can't leave. And it's a really fresh, interesting, cool series, and I'll definitely recommend it to vampire fans. So Morganville Vampires is my first pick. And the second one is from the Red Eye Stripes series, and it's Whiteout by Gabriel Dillon. And these are very scary vampires. It's a ski resort holiday where a group of teens go with school, and soon the teachers are murdered and it is vampires that are doing it. And the problem is that they are stuck on this remote ski resort and the kids can't escape. So I really liked the suffocating feel of this one, the remote setting, the terrifying vampires. So this is my second vampire recommendation. The third one is a middle grade book, and it's actually an author that I have rediscovered recently. So I read Justin Somper's Vampirates series when I was a teacher to my year 5-6 classes, really enjoyed them, and they've recently been rebranded by UCLan, my publisher, and look at this beautiful cover. So I picked the books up again. I'm going to be doing an event at the end of May with Justin, so I decided to reread the books, and I found that they are just as exciting as they were the first time I read them. There's a very, although it's a futuristic vampire meets pirate series, there's a really classic children's literature feel about these that I really enjoy. So if you like your middle grade, slightly scary vampires, but with lots of character, personality and a fantastic pirate setting, I would give these books a go. And my final recommendation, I can't do a vampire video, sorry for the plug, and without mentioning my own book. So Mina and the Undead was published by UCLan at the beginning of April. It is a vampire book. It's set in 1995 New Orleans, and although it's not heavy on the vampires, it's more of a murder mystery. There is definitely plenty of vampire content for you vampire fans. So that was my recommendation section. There are also some classic vampire books that I would recommend, such as Interview the Vampire is one of my all-time favourites, and obviously Dracula, the classic vampire. Although it is a classic and it's not the most accessible read in places, I think it's one of the more exciting classics. So if you're thinking about getting into some older literature, it's definitely one that I would try, particularly if you're a vampire fan. So for the next segment of the video, I'm going to talk to you about the books I'm planning to read. Roughly one vampire book a month, I think, between now and Halloween. I've got a big stack, and quite a few of them are books I've owned for a while, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to pick them up. So the first one I think I mentioned on my last video was Vampires in Moscow by Caedis Knight. It is an adult book. It sounds quite sexy and steamy. I think it is also a murder mystery, and I really like the sound of this. I've seen great reviews on social media, and I'm hoping to have read this by the end of the month, so I should have a review for you. And the second book I saw a lot of buzz about, The Fell of Dark. It is by Roehrig. I'm sorry if I pronounced that name wrong. And I saw loads again about this one on social media. It sounds fantastic. It's described as a queer vampire book, and it says, "Why are the cute ones always undead?" as the tagline, which is really cool. And there's loads of really good quotes actually from other people on the back. So Elsie Rosen, the author of Jack of Hearts, Entertainment Weekly, Cosmo, Booklist, have all given this book fantastic reviews. So I'll just read you a little bit of the blurb so you can hear for yourself. The only thing August Pfeiffer hates more than algebra is living in a vampire town. Located at a nexus of mystical energy fields, Fulton Heights is practically an electromagnet for supernatural drama. And when a mysterious and annoyingly hot vampire boy arrives with a cryptic warning, Augie suddenly finds himself at the centre of that supernatural drama. An ancient and terrible power is returning to the earthly realm, and somehow Augie seems to be the only one who can stop it. And it says only Roehrig could refresh the vampire trope with an LGBTQ themed mystery that is both romantic and thrilling. How good does that sound? It's got definite feel of Morganville vampires actually from reading that, and Buffy, and I've wanted to read it for ages, so this will hopefully be my opportunity. 2021 is the year. So next up we have Vampires Never Get Old, another book that I pre-ordered, thought it sounded fantastic and haven't had a chance to read yet. So this is a book of short stories by YA authors, and some of my favourites are in there. So you've got stories by Samira Ahmed, Danielle Clayton, Tessa Grafton, Heidi Heilig, Julie Murphy, Mark Ashiro, Rebecca Roanhorse, Laura Ruby, V. Schwab, Kayla Whaley, and it's edited by Zoraida Cordova and Natalie C. Parker. And it's all different takes on the vampire tropes and the vampire genre, and I've heard really good things about this book too, so that is on the stack. Next up, probably the vampire book I've owned the longest, Department 19 by Will Hill. I loved After the Fire by Will Hill. Very much not a vampire book. I'd say it's contemporary, it's about a cult, and it was absolutely brilliant. But I've had this book probably for even longer than After the Fire and still haven't read it. So Department 19 is described as the reason you're still alive. When Jamie Carpenter's mother is kidnapped, he finds himself dragged into Department 19, the government's most secret agency. Fortunately for Jamie, Department 19 can provide the tools he needs to find his mother and to kill the vampires who want him dead. But unfortunately for everyone, something much older is stirring, something even Department 19 can't stand up against. These books sound amazing. I love the fact that it's a finished series, so if I get into it, I can just get stuck into all of the books. And I think it sounds really fun and different, even though it's been out a while, it still feels really fresh. So that's my next pick. This one I've seen all over BookTube. I know very little about it, apart from that I think the cover is stunning. I've gone through the artwork, looks great as well. And it just says on the back, a love story between a vampire and a werewolf. And that is all I need to hear. Some of my favourite booktubers like Vanilla Moon has recommended it, so I thought I would give this one a go. Next up is another recommendation on my friend Rosie Merrowchild's Instagram. I'll link to people that I mention underneath this video, so you can check their content out. This one is called The Afterlife of the Party by Marlene Perez. And I didn't know much about it apart from I saw that cover and knew I needed to have it. But when I read the blurb, I thought it sounded really cool as well. It says on the back, love sucks. I didn't even want to go to the party. Seriously, I'd rather have stayed at home with my librarian witch grandmother and her mystical book club than go. But my best friend Skylar begged me, so I went. And it was the worst party of my life. Actually, it was the last party of my life. Can we just take a moment for that line? That is so good. Not only was there something very strange about the band, but the lead singer bit me afterwards and then took off with Skylar. Now I'm chasing down a band of dangerous vamps for my best guy friend Vaughn, the boy I've secretly been crushing on forever. But anything can happen on the road. I thought all I wanted was for things to change with Vaughn, for him to see the real me. This wasn't what I had in mind. Let the afterlife begin. I love everything about that blurb. The fact that there's a band, the lead singer is a vampire, and the boy that she has been crushing on for ages. So this one may go close to the top of the pile. So that is it for my vampire reads. I'm hoping that in future videos I'll be able to update you on how my year-long vampire read is going. Let me know either in the comments or on my social media if you would like to talk to me about these books or recommend any more vampire titles. A few people have been asking me whether I've got any events coming up, so just to update you, I've got an event coming up on Thursday, 22nd of April, with Goldie Moldovsky, and we're going to be talking about her new book, The Last Girl, and my book, Mina and the Undead, and I'll put details below how you can book onto that for free. I'm also doing an event at the beginning of May with the London Horror Society, where we're talking about all things horror and vampires, and that will be on Facebook Live, and there'll be details also in the comments. And I will be doing an event towards the end of May to talk about Vampirates with Justin Somper, which I'm really excited about. So that's it from me. That's all of my vampire recommendations that I can come up with, the vampire books I'm planning to read over the next year. So let me know if you've read any of these books, and if you want to look for me on social media, you can find me at YA Under My Skin. Thank you for watching. Bye.